So welcome to our Monday Sacred Ground Collective Vision Circle. And I'm always love to see your faces. We gather whenever we can, and I know there are many also who are with us kind of vicariously, energetically in the field, and we're always holding space for those also. So let's just take a moment and let our breath move us individually back to our bodies, feeling the breath in the nostrils, bringing us to this bodysuit, to your place on the planet, to the energy that moves through you right down to your feet, here on Gaia, saying to her, we stand with you, as we know you stand with us in this restorative period. And with the next breath, sense that energy moving down into the roots within Gaia, the roots of other sisters, of other circles, of other souls in female bodies anywhere on the planet. Some we know, some we don't. But the energy that we have that's moving through those roots are resourcing, connecting, strengthening. And then with the next inhale and exhale, the awareness that we have consciously called into place, a mycelium holding the wisdom of souls in female bodies, a mycelium of wisdom from experience, strength and skills and encouragement and resource. We energize that mycelium connection also. We meet in the sacred ground of sovereignty within the 5-6-fold cocoon field of guidance, of resourcing, of protection and safety, of connective, and of clear, secured channels to that which is of our divine star family's light. And meeting as we do here on our group on Monday, we move to a platform prepared for that work for this time within what we call the 6th world. For some, we may even be moved to the 5th world, not dimension, but world, where there are connections way beyond what we've had before, possibilities that have never been there before, and support that is new and anchored here through our bodies on the planet. And we are here to hold space with and for one another, to feel the excitement of what we each are being drawn to hold healing and dissolving energies for anything that might be entrapping, and to reconnect with whatever vision or vision message that is waiting for us today. So we are grateful for all that we are and have and are connected with, honoring each of us in our own unique presentation on the planet. Grateful to be together. Our circle is declared, designed and anchored, and is now open and set for our work together. And so it is. Just take a moment and let that energy of interactions, of connected roots, mycelium of wisdom beyond what we've had available, and our presence here with one another fill you. And when you're ready, you can bring yourself back and be present physically. Be present with us all. So what we're going to do, first of all, is presence ourselves into the circle. And the way we usually do that is with our name, where we are on the planet. We always, because of the type of circle this is, if there are any individuals, situations, life forms of any kind that you want to place into this field of divine good for healing and transforming and blessing them in ways beyond what we originally alone could do, we place that as a number or name into the circle. And then we also ask for any specific quality, any specific song harmonics that we would want to have activated, knowing that all is possible here, but there might be just one that you'd like that particular harmonic just sing a little bit louder during our time together. And we'll do it tag fashion. So I'll begin, and then I will invite the next one. So Sharon Raji Maynard here on Whidbey Island, state of Washington. And a lot of excitement here today. I don't know why. I don't care. It's really great to feel. And I want to place 16 individuals, 3 personal individuals into this field, as well as multiple situations within the United States and world for transforming. And the word I want, I guess I'm just going to use the word excitement. And I pass to Angelique.
Hello, everyone, from the Netherlands again. It feels like somebody who reads the news, but here I am. And I'm so thrilled to see you, Sande, again. It's so long ago, but maybe you even don't remember me, but I do. I do remember you. You're still in my heart, like your name. Really. Thank you to be here. And yeah, everyone, wonderful to see you again. And I like to bring in the energy of yeah, you took excitement. That was exactly what I wanted to do. So I do it again. I just do it again. And I'd like to bring in 20 people and the children of the world and all who needs love and protection. And yeah, I pray for all multiple situations on our beautiful planet. So yeah, that's it. And I go to Audrey.
Hi, I'm Audrey, and I'm in Wyoming, Pennsylvania. And it's beautiful here, absolutely gorgeous. And I'd like to bring in 11 people, 5 personal situations, the energy of personal freedom and freedom in general, and the children of the world for their innocence, their safety, and their imagination. And I would like to call on Evie.
Thanks. I am in Anacortes, and I'd like to bring in 16 people, 2 personal situations, and I guess the Earth's atmosphere, everything related to climate change. And marine life. And the quality, I have 2 qualities. They both begin with a G. One is gentleness and one is generosity. And I will pass to Arlie.
Thank you, Evie. I'm Arlie. I'm in New Zealand. I would like to bring in 23 people with special attention to my family that is just going through a rough time. My husband's sick. My grandson has the human version of hoof and mouth disease. My eldest daughter is going through a rough patch. My daughter, who's taking care of the kid with hoof and mouth disease, is just worn to a frazzle because he is so needy at this point. I would like to bring in the illegal lab that was just discovered in California, where the Chinese are working on HIV, COVID, hepatitis, unregulated, and no one knows what they're doing. I don't want to bring up conspiracy theories, but I'm going to suggest weaponization here. And the quality I would like to bring in is wisdom. I think extra attention to wisdom would be a really good thing. And Janelle, I'll pass to you.
Hi, ladies. I'm Janelle, and I'm on the Big Island of Hawaii. And hi, Evie. I missed you. So good to see you, old friend. I'm going to be calling in, I think, actually one person and just really having strong intentions for that person. And the intention for the world of healing is the attack on women and female born. And I will call Sandy.
Yes, thank you. And of course, Angelique. How could I ever forget you? Tickled to see you. What an honor to be in the circle. I want to say that as well. So calling in, I have a very strong request to call in my grandmothers whose hands are on my shoulders, on my head right now. I'd love to bring attention to all of my attention to my husband who's got a really good flu. And it's doing its flu job on him right now, and healing prayers. And the quality that I'd like to bring in is freedom and dignity for women and children everywhere in the next 7 generations. Thank you. And I would like to pass to, oh, forgive me, Deborah.
Thank you. I'm Deborah. I'm in Sanford, North Carolina, and I'd like to bring in 4 personal situations, 30 people, climate change, and my quality is I'd like to bring in joy. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, let's just activate those qualities spoken and even held unspoken of excitement, gentleness, generosity, wisdom, freedom, dignity, especially for the vulnerable women and children, joy. And with that also, we place all of these individual situations, life forms into that field of divine good, that healing space of home that can dissolve what seems impossible to us and open doors where there were none before. All for that greater good, greater resonance to our home. And so it is. So one of the things I just want to mention before we get into our vision today is for those of you who might be interested, our Wednesday night group, which is a laser focused group. It's about a half hour, might be 45 minutes because we're changing it just a little bit, not this week, but the following week. So you'll get a little of information, and that is where we take a situation like climate change and the sex trafficking, whatever that you're drawn to. And we use specific, very deep healing processes to go to the core, a cause, dissolve, and remove the cause. We call ourselves the Truth, Freedom, Truth Writers, RIGHTERS. So just kind of watch for that announcement coming out next week, okay? Okay, so what I'm really excited about today, well, because you're here, you of course, but I was with Sandy on a Saturday morning, and Sandy and her group, SARAH, SARAH, and she can tell you a bit about SARAH. We're talking about going at the World Parliament, the Parliament of World Religions. And I've been following that progression, women's being more involved since I think 2009 when my friends Kathy Schaff got involved. And all of a sudden we have, I think, at least as many women and women projects and maybe more than just the men, which had been there before. And I don't think I've attended at all. I was going to attend Salt Lake and gave my ticket to someone else and didn't go. But it's always, and it's a growing energy field that we're going to be participating in during the week of August 14th through 18th in our own circles, long distance. And Angelique, who has done this before with world religions more intensely, but she's going to be doing the water ceremony on the 14th. So you've got announcements about that. And we're going to consciously connect to that whole field of the World Parliament. And we can really, because we know how we can do this, you individually can connect with that field in any way you want to energize it. There will be some online options, I understand, and we'll get that information to you. But Sandy, I mean, she's going. I mean, she's on fire. And I thought it would be really fun to hear from her what it is that she and her group or groups, or however you want to present, Sandy, what it is that's going on that you are a part of and know about. Because I from my experience, we in our sacred ground, we've been working a lot on energizing new, but also removing domination. And I think what's going to be so exciting for us to see today, what this grand rising up is looking like, at least in Sandy's part of the, and it's only one part of the Parliament, and the Parliament's only one part of the greater. So I just wanted to have Sandy here, invited her to be here with us so she can share, and as much as time as you need, Sandy, because whatever you want to share, whatever questions might come up, it's over to you. So tell us a bit about you, the work, the Parliament, in any fashion you want. And thank you so much for making time for us.
Oh, thank you so much. And again, it's truly an honor to be in this circle. Can't get enough women's circles. And this is, I know, a very robust and nutrient-rich one. And thank you for inviting me, Sharon. Well, it is a storyline. It's easy to tell. In 2001, I woke up to what everyone else in the world was seeing. I am in Southern California. I didn't mention that earlier. And so it was around 7 o'clock in the morning. I was woken by, or earlier, I was woken by this scene, turned on my TV, saw the scene of the airplanes flying into buildings. And I heard gather women. And first of all, I wasn't, as far as I knew, spiritually inclined. I didn't know who was asking me and where the voice was coming from. I knew that I needed to get up and get my middle school kids ready for school that day. And I thought, what am I going to do with my kids today? And then it was discovered these were Muslim terrorists. And I thought, what about the Muslim mothers? What are they going through right now? I didn't know anyone who was Muslim, not by design. I'm Jewish, not by design. I just didn't. And just as much as I didn't know who was instructing me to gather women. And so I said yes. And before I knew it, long story short, I found myself in some dialogues that were put on by the local Human Relations Commission to explore the level of tolerance in the community, the Orange County Human Relations Commission, and the living room dialogues. Evie, you're nodding your head and you must be familiar with them. And they were to take that information and create programming to create a more safe and harmonious environment with that information. And that's where I found the women. And so fast forward, find myself in my own living room with 11 other women, 12 of us. Isn't that poetic? And we, 12 of us, and we named her Sarah, the mother of all nations. As women of diverse faith traditions, to explore our differences and celebrate or explore where we share common ground and celebrate where we don't, and learn from one another and deepen the roots of our own faith tradition, and go on to do community programs. And we were asked to constantly to be on panel discussions at various universities. We were part of the Difficult Dialogues report for the Ford Foundation out of UC Irvine, a hotbed for tension between the Israeli students and the Arab students. So we were right in the heat of it as the mothers of the community, going, oh no, Mama's got this. We're going to sit down and talk. We're bringing our candles for prayer. We're calling you to our hymn. We're having our voices heard. We're showing up spontaneously. We're showing up in big planned ways, and continuing to meet every single month for 22 years. And then come COVID, and it was time to come. We were actually starting to slow down anyway, but Sarah is such an organic process that, and we've always listened very carefully to what wants to happen at Sarah. If it's time to slow down, we go quiet. But it's never been in question whether Sarah should go away, whether we're going to close our 501c3 and say it's been wonderful. She's not ready to go. And so she's went quiet, and then COVID happened, and we went online and we got really busy again. We created the General Congress of Women's webinar series, 12 months of the 12 critical areas of concern, the UN Beijing Women's 12 critical areas of concern. We took on each month a different area of concern with an expert in the field. Rianne Eisler, Jean Bolin, Grandmother Florida Mayo. I could go on and on and on. Imagine 2 experts in the field and an Indigenous elder or grandmother holding sacred space on each call. So we had 3 guests each month. And then when we completed that, now it was time to bring the voices of all of you to Circle. And we started all over again in January. And now we're going to address these topics, but now as experts in our own life. And how does this show up in our life? And what's the lived experience that we can, talk about? And the call we were on, Saturday that Sharon was mentioning was on women in the economy. And so we talked about what does economy mean to you, whether it's poverty thinking or actual poverty, poverty on the land, poverty in our pocketbook. And to hear this wisdom from ourselves, we have so much to offer. And so that's sort of how we roll, in just a very high level understanding of that. And then let me kind of go back a little bit to the Parliament and where we're at now with the Parliament. So that's Sarah. She's still alive and thriving, and I'll surface back with her in a moment because she's a big part of this coming Parliament. The Parliament of the World's Religions, the first Parliament was in 1893. And the most profound speaker there was Swami Vivekananda, who was the first time our country had ever seen anything like him before, in orange robes, speaking this foreign language, stands up in this huge crowd of people. It was actually at the World's Fair in Chicago, and said, "Hello, brothers and sisters." Well, imagine that wasn't the sort of language we used in 1893 with people of different color and different dialects. And there was 10 minutes of an applause, and it's recorded. Anyway, 100 years later, the parliament convened its first Parliament of the World's Religions, major conference. Thousands of people come from all over the world. In Chicago. The next one was in Cape Town, that was hosted by Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu, Reverend Desmond Bishop Tutu. Then it went to Barcelona a few years later. A few years later, it was in Melbourne, which is my first parliament. Salt Lake City, Toronto, virtual, and here we are coming back full circle to Chicago. And that is, and now imagine thousands of people of different colors and textures and, you know, different dialects and different regalia and different walks of life, all coming from their different faith perspective or non-faith, secular ethic, pagans, Wiccan. We have a large presence of indigenous. There's an indigenous task force. There's a women's task force. The first one was in Salt Lake City. That was the first women's task force. When it was discovered that 63% of the participants show up, Phyllis Carrot, a world-renowned pagan, said, we better have a women's track too. So there's indigenous women's track, a global ethic track, a youth track, next gen, I should say, and I'm probably missing one. So about 1,000 workshops over the course of a week. Rituals to observe or participate in if you're comfortable, celebrations, displays, dance, food, art, music, assemblies, plenaries, and did I say panel discussions and workshops, about 1,000 of those. And so it's just heaven on earth for me. It's my party, it's my reunion, so I'm tickled. But coming to this parliament and really thinking about all that Phyllis did in 2015 in Salt Lake City to raise the vibration of the feminine at the parliament. I mean, imagine the origin of patriarchy, the origin, or I should say the keeper and the perpetuator of the systems of domination and patriarchy convening, and we're going to show up loud and proud. And how are we going to do that? So I am part of a small group of women who are creating a women's village, right smack in the middle of it all, 1,300 square feet. Adjacent to our 1,200 square feet or 1,300 square feet is a room that is our sacred space room that we're adorning as much as we can, like a red tent, because we can't put things over the ceiling and things like that because of fire marshal laws, and it's a union hall, so we're having lots of fun with that. But it'll happen. The walls are red. There will be carpets. There will be candles. There will be an altar. There will be pillows and even a mat to lay on. Small circles for small circle dialogues, because that's how we small circle. I mean, that's how we circle. We circle in small circles. In our village area, we've got velvet benches and a comfortable couch, because what happens when women converge? When we convene, we converge. As a matter of fact, I wish I had one handy. I've got them with a little out. So we've got these pins that say what happens when women converge, about 3,000 of those pins coming. So we're really creating sacred space. And again, dialing up. This was my love letter to Phyllis Carrot. Couldn't think of a more bolder statement to make about the presence of the divine feminine than building a space right for us where you'd have to close your eyes and close your ears and pass through without missing it. I will tell, there's a wonderful video, Sharon, I can share it with you if you'd like to share it with everybody. It's about 3 minutes. And the creating of the container, not walls, we are using these tapestries called Women's Woven Voices tapestries, and they are creating a sacred space. They are they are displayed on panels, and the organization Women's Woven Voices collects voices from women all over the world through a weaving process. And there are these little strips of fabric that you can send back to Yeah, there's a loom kit. Everything is, if I had known, I'm sorry, I should have had everything right here in handy, so I don't have to disrupt the flow here. But you get this little loom kit and you create this beautiful little strip that's your story while you're writing your story. Those are then sewn into these magnificent panels. And we've got 1,700 square feet of those creating our space. Well, we're going to be creating other spaces too. Dale Allen is conducting interviews in there. We've got a mother tree getting created. We're building a mother tree. Write your prayers on the leaves and your ancestors' names on the bark. There's so much love in the details in this space, but more than anything, it's space for women to be. I could go on and on and on. The Sikh community provides a langar for everyone. They feed us every single day. Imagine about 10,000 people come and they feed us every single day. Oh gosh, nourishment for the heart, soul, mind, and body. We have red tent workshops. We have 36 7th grade girls coming for the maiden ceremony.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, stop me.
Man.
I can't even put a period on any of this, so I think that's all I should say for now.
The effort and the energy and the love that's gone into helping this, because you've got what, 2 more weeks, and all of that has to be in Chicago, put together, and then it will be present. But it's not going to magically appear in form. There's a lot of behind the scenes working. When I was with the indigenous elders, then I'm going to open because I want other people to say what they or questions they might have. When I was with the indigenous elders in Nauvoo, the opportunity to serve, and I happened to be in the kitchen chopping onions, first doing fry bread, which I turned that over to somebody else. To me, that was probably the highlight, although there was great things going on, but the opportunity to serve. I mean, there's a lot of service going on. So what do you have? What do you want to ask Sandy? And she's just giving you the tip of the iceberg here.
Sandy, is there a website under the name Sarah? How would we get kind of a look online?
SarahForHope.org, and I just put it in the chat window for you. It's Sarah with an H, the number 4hope.org.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And the video I mentioned is actually on the menu bar. You can see Build the Village. You can see the video on that page.
So I'm just going to take just a moment and say, so here's Sarah, what she just sent out about coming to the conference. Spiritual and Religious Alliance for Hope. That's Sarah. Spiritual and Religious Alliance for Hope.
Thank you.
I really get so excited. I wish I could be there. And I really missed you, your excitement, and you're so inspiring. I'm really thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I definitely will be there in spirit all the time.
Oh, thank you, Angelique. Yeah, our grandmother Flor de Mayo calls, right? You're regular on our calls. I did a series with grandmother Flor de Mayo.
Wow.
Yeah, I know about 6 or 8 months worth. I'm pretty sure that, I mean, I used to see you, of course, I know you and been on Zoom with you many times. So of course, your name is very comfortable to me.
Grateful. Yeah. Thank you for sharing all the beauty.
Thank you. Well, we're all doing it in one way or another.
Yeah.
Mine I've been losing some sleep. You're at less than 2 weeks.
Are you doing a water ceremony within the space, or is that going to
Yes.
I know there's a water ceremony going on, but I didn't know if that was within your space or.
That we're doing two. We're doing one for women only. We're inviting obviously everybody to bring water. You bring just a little vial of water from wherever you are that you consider sacred. And actually, if you'd like to send me water to my home in the next week and a half, I'll add it to my water and bring it with me. So your water will be added into that water ceremony. So it'll be a women's only water ceremony. And then there'll be that night. Is it that night or the next night? I have to look. I think it's that night. There will be the entire Parliament water ceremony. Everyone will be invited out to because the convention center is right on Lake Michigan. And we're going to go as close to the water's edge as we can. We're bringing our twinkly lights, our electric lights, and we're going to create a beautiful ambiance. And we're going to be offering our water to Grandmother Lake Michigan, or whatever her name may be in the native land, which I should find out before now and then. Yeah.
I
And so
thought it was,
that's so powerful.
was it the 15th? The 15th of August or the 14th?
So our water ceremony, I'll tell you right now, I'm sorry, my head, all the things are all tangled up. I just have the schedule in my right here schedule. Thank you. All right. So our water ceremony, the women's only water ceremony. Okay, the Lake Michigan water ceremony is Tuesday evening. And our water ceremony is Tuesday morning. So 9 o'clock our time is the women's only water ceremony, and 6:45 to 7:30 is the water ceremony in the evening, both on Tuesday. So is that the 14th? No, that's the 15th. Yeah.
So I put in the website for the Parliament, because you can go to there and then you can see the schedule, and then you can see that there are a few things online. Most of it is in person, but there's a few things online, so you can explore that. If you want to go to any of there's a cost to whatever, if it's a day or an event, and that's something you guys can explore as you choose to. Okay.
Yeah, everyone that you may talk to who has been to a parliament, or at least this is my experience, refer to it as transformational.
Mhm.
That's the same word I would use. It's almost an assault on the senses. There's so much going on, and it's so delicious and juicy, and also sublime and informative. Look at the workshops. The workshops there's a lot of really important work going on, and important, difficult, inspirational, and informative workshops and panels with world-renowned thought leaders. Yeah.
There's a speech being given by Jean Shinola Bolin, and she's saying exactly what we've been saying in our circle. It's like we're in a time of either apocalypse or absolute shift to a new world. And where are we going to go? I mean, it's exactly what we're saying. And what is striking to me, because I've kind of watched women try to energize themselves through the UN, maybe because that was a policy-making organization, and the Human Rights Commission of the UN and the Women's Alliance in the UN. But what's really happening is it's almost like where it's really happening is within the Parliament of World Religions, if you look at one platform of gathering. So
I would agree with you. I would agree with you. If you think about it, every one of those clergy or organizational leaders, I mean, there were seekers, there's students, there's interest, just those who are curious, teachers, and also, like I said, clergy. They command a room of hundreds to, if not thousands of people. And we motivate through the heart. And that's why the world's religions has been so successful at keeping patriarchy alive. So let's just go right to the root ball of it and show them another way. In the village, you're going to see solutions, how women solve problems. I'll give you an example. We have gone through the 12 critical areas of concern. And by the way, I agree with you 100% on the UN and those institutional mechanisms is how they're referred to them. And you know, sustainable change happens so subtly, and time is of the essence, right? And even speaking of Jean, how long has she been trying to get a 5th Women's World Conference at the UN?
Yep.
I met her in like 2005 or 6 or 7 at the UN, passing, and I gushed my adoration all over her until she stopped me mid-sentence and said, "Do you want to help me?" and stuffed my pockets with her big blue buttons, that, you know, calling for this. So that was, and I think she finally came to the understanding it's not going to happen there. It has to happen at the grassroots level. And I couldn't agree more. And one of the things we're doing in the village, and it was actually a dilemma that we started seeing a pattern of how we're solving problems in the village, even organizing it or even producing it. We wanted to have the areas of concern. We condensed them into 7 areas of concern that disproportionately impact women and girls. And so we made a poster for them, and we were going to say, here's the problem, here's where to go for the solution. It was going to be the UN or Rotary. And we tried so hard to get through to the UN women. We tried so hard to get through to all the different like avenues of like an institution that would just be a one-stop shop for solutions. And then it didn't happen. It's like, wait, what wants to happen? Crowdsourcing wants to happen here. Feminine design, right? So we have on that poster lines for you to write in the organization that you know that it's addressing human trafficking or whatever, economic literacy or what have you. And so that was how we solved that problem, crowdsourcing. And the same has come through with everything that we found we bumped up against. How are we going to do that? How can we make that happen? Oh, crowdsource it. And that way everybody's part of the solution. Yeah.
So Sandy, crowdsourcing is similar to opening up a field for collaboration. What do you know? And that's called crowdsourcing. So you can crowdsource through money, or you can also crowdsource through ideas and partnerships that way. Yeah.
Thank you. Resources, knowledge, experiences, expensive mistakes. Got a load of, I have a bucket of expensive mistakes I would love to save you from.
All I can say is, wow, and it makes me a lot more optimistic. Is there a particular reason why our general media does not report on this kind of at least national movement? Is there particular reasons why you don't want to get media involved in that? Could you speak a little to that?
I would love to, because for 22 years, or I would say the first 17 years, where we would put on major events and we wanted the news to come and see the Jews and Christians and Muslims and Baha'is and Hindus and Sikhs. We're dancing together, talking together, we're solving problems together. And we couldn't, there was no interest. And the theory is, if it doesn't bleed, it doesn't read. And we had a joke: call the press and tell them there's going to be a fight. Call the press and tell them someone's we got a threat. we didn't really do that, but that's sometimes what it took. So every now and then you'll get a feel-good story in the paper on news.
There's got to be some journalists out there that could be extracted in so many of the major news organizations that would fit their heart, soul, and their work. I mean, I can't believe that can't be created.
I'm with you. And here's the good news, in my opinion. Fewer and fewer people are getting their news from mainstream television. Unfortunately, they're going to TikTok or Instagram or watching documentaries. But so we it's a great opportunity to use our voice and our tools there. Yeah, it's really a mixed bag. And sharing what you said was really striking. Or you had said what Jean Shinoda Bolen had said. Either we're going to self-destruct or we're going to evolve as a species. And I think, and according to indigenous prophecy, both at the same time, right? Because something has to die so something new can come through, and we don't know what that new is. But we're at such a fascinating time right now, where we're seeing the resistance, the heightened fear, the heightened tension, the heightened political, you don't have to, you could live on Mars and know what's going on in this country with our political environment. So that's, for me, what helps my nervous system is to remember it's part of the resistance, and to just keep fertilizing and to keep nurturing and keep praying and keep convening like this and keep putting thoughts into the galaxy sphere and everything in between, in whatever way you can, because it matters. Because we talked about this on our call too, about a collective thought. Bishop William Swing, who's the founder of the United Religions Initiative, said that I'm gonna butcher this, but basically that a collective prayer is more powerful than an atom bomb. And it's part of his nuclear non-proliferation campaign, that August 6th is No Nukes Day. So, yeah, so prayer matters. We just keep doing this.
Are there Sarah for Hope chapters?
It's funny because you absolutely can. And you know what we found, and it's super awesome, is that you convene. I can send you a toolkit on some ideas. And what we found was more and more women just wanted to be there, do it their way. And that's really what you should do. And like, we're not trying to be an umbrella, or we're not trying to, we're like a constellation with you and sharing the orbit together, but we'll support you. And for a while there was a SARAH group that met, and they loved working with us because, they were no longer they were us. They liked having this chapter because what we could provide was a website presence and, the things that cost money and take time and energy. It became too much energy and time on our hands, and our only solution was to charge for that, and there just wasn't that sort of resources. We've only been funded by small donations to keep our lights on. Yeah. So, but we have a toolkit. We have, even dialogue prompts. Yeah, we have a training coming up on how to host a red tent, which is the same thing. It's exactly what we're doing. Yeah, but to say this is how you listen carefully to the needs of your community and respond, that's all you need to know. That's it. Yeah, there's no manual for that.
Sandy, hi. I have a couple questions.
Hi.
So I'm so excited that I was able to come today. And so I also wanted to offer my assistance if at all it can be helpful. I'm a volunteer manager, like that's my expertise. So it sounds like you have a lot going on. So I wanted to say that. And I was also curious, do you have any collaboration, or is Women of Spirit and Faith, are they working with you with the women's water ritual and all of these things happening?
Well, let me tell you. So Kay of women. Kay Lindahl was my mentor, is my mentor, was my goddess rising before 9/11. She was an Episcopal minister in my community, and she and my rabbi worked together on her organization, which was the first interfaith organization in Orange County, California, called the Alliance for Spiritual Community, I think. And my first meeting there was their last meeting. I sat down, I'm like, I'm going to get involved. This is really interesting. And they go, well, I guess we're done. So that was but Kay and I have done workshops together. I've been to every parliament with her. So yes, she's super near and dear to my heart. Kathy, I've moved, lived probably 20 minutes from me. I was maid of honor in our mutual friend's wedding, and she hosted the wedding. So yeah, we know each other. She started Women of Spirit and Faith after Sarah, like about 5 or 7 years, somewhere in there, like after Sarah. I had even asked her if she wanted to take over the reins of Sarah at one point. But no, she and Kay needed to do their own thing, and that's perfectly awesome. So yeah, I do know them. And Kay's work, I wrote a book recently, and it's a storyline, and I didn't realize how profound an impact Kay had in my life until I started telling all of these different stories over the span of 25 years. Like, well, there she was again, and there she was again, and there she was again. So Kay is very dear to me. Yeah.
Beautiful. This is
To
wonderful.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. To answer your question, no, they're not like hands-on involved with what we're doing at the parliament. They'll be there.
Yeah,
They'll be there, of course. Yes.
There will be hugs,
Okay.
but yeah.
Okay. This is just Sarah. Awesome. Beautiful work. Good luck.
the Women of
Thanks.
Spirit and Faith have had a really profound outreach to younger women leaders, and really holding the space for having them bring forth whatever it is in the moment. They have a really wonderful program for leadership that I really admire. So, and yes, as you know, they're going to be at the Parliament also. And in answer to your question, Abby, too, on the platform of the galactic landscape, when you're playing on the platform of the galactic landscape, you know that what is missing in the domination culture is the empowerment and the rising up of and support of that which is in alignment to the good of all. Because in order to dominate, you have to crush that which is good. You have to always crush whistleblowers, etc., etc. And so what you spoke to is like, why isn't there more media? There'll never be mainstream media as long as we have it within the domination culture. And so our work in Sacred Ground has been always understanding our star families, why they came, how they came, what happened to them in that galactic world experience that has trapped us in this Earth mission that we've even forgotten was a mission, and to realign ourselves, to who we are at home, in that home space, to who we are as a member of a divine family with a specific agenda of doing good, and how that got trapped away, and having the processes to remove those causes and free ourselves to be then build on the platform of our galactic intention, home, and original Earth mission. And so is there yet a connective, what we would call media, going on at the level we'd like to have it go on a galactic landscape? I think we're seeing pieces of it, and we, wherever it is, our commitment is to energize it. Like, that's why we have Sande here. We want to make sure we support, we energize, we know about that which is rising, that is a reflection of that good benefit for all, in order to, and another thing that we have here, at least at headquarters, have reinitiated about I guess a month, maybe 2 months ago, is our guardianship circles. You remember guardianship circles was it intended, and they still function, but they've upped the energy. Where are those new projects growing? Like Sarah's been around, but now we're aware of Sarah. Spirit and Faith, Women of Spirit and Faith is around now. We know of that. Dell Allen, we've put her already in galactic circles. Marianne Williamson is in our galactic circle of collective guardianship, so that we intentionally, regularly energize that space of protection from that which would destroy, because we know they've been around. Protection of anything that would drain, as there's clear connections to that home of all good, so that there's an energy coming even stronger, but it's secured. Connection brought to them, resources brought to them, in what we can do to add to what they're doing. They do what they do, and we want them cocooned in that kind of guardianship, so they don't have to worry about, they know somebody's got their back. Somebody's clearing the track. And yeah, would it be great to have, maybe a more aware network, and maybe visioning that into existence is what you we can anchor. I'm going to say this again, and I've said it to you in various ways. What my team has said to me over and over again is, she who is the master of energy determines the outcome. And you are all masters of energy laws. You've been with that commitment to apply the laws of energy, those spiritual laws and principles and learning in your own life and then beyond your own life. So you have that mastership ability to hold an outcome. And then that outcome will be. So you're uniquely positioned for what's going on in the world. And knowing what's going on in the world is critical, because then you can now energize Sandy and the Parliament and her work in whatever way you're guided, right? There's Deborah.
Sandy, as you were talking, I had been reminded the other day, and it just kept coming up to say it, that in 2000, I heard an astrologer talk about what was coming up with the change from 2000 with the centuries and all. And what the person said is we were moving from from Pisces into the age of Aquarius, and said that Pisces was top down, Aquarius is bottom up, and said you're going to see all the patriarchal societies top down. You'll see companies, countries, governments falling almost overnight, and it's going to be bottom up. And I was like, okay, I wonder, thinking that would take a long time. And within 5 years, and I was working at the federal level in environmental issues, I saw more new stuff and exciting things going on from the local level than from the top down, where it was before, it was federal laws that got people to pay attention and do things that they had to protect the environment. But now it was coming from the bottom up. And when you said you couldn't get the UN to really take you seriously, it's like, that's okay, because this is what's going on and how it's supposed to be. So it's just a reminder for all of us that it's a whole new game. And as Sharon said, we're positioned uniquely for this. So thank you.
Brilliant. Yeah, exactly. The indigenous prophecy is that the staff has been passed to the feminine. So it's done. We're on our way. We don't know where we're going, but we know we're on our way. And had I never heard that statement or that prophecy, I would have believed it. I feel it. Perhaps you do too, perhaps not. I choose to believe it also. It's not only in all 37 trillion cells in my body say yes when I think it. I see it. I see it happening every day. We are so supported with this women's village as an example. We were so supported at SARAH. We still are. We used to always say it's as if God is blowing in our sails, because we just couldn't believe how it took off with a gust, just because it was what wants to happen. That's because we just listened. And I got out of the way. That was the big thing. I got out of the way, which is what we did when we came up with these solutions and realized, oh, crowdsourcing solutions. Yeah. Oh, there's another way. I think this time requires us to look at, this is a word that Jean Bolin gave me, liminal. We're in a liminal space, the space between here and there. We're at that threshold space. And it's not, we live in, from thought to action is a liminal space, right? Or from dilemma and what are we going to do? And that time you're stewing or navigating what to do. That's a liminal space. Or this evolutionary growth spurt we're in, which I am now going to call the restorative period, Sharon. And what do we do in that space? That space is an absolute gift. And then guess what? When you accept that liminality, it gets wide and it turns into not just a journey of what to do, but I call it an odyssey. Therein lies the liminal odyssey. And so, and I spent a lot of time talking to Jean about that. About what that's about. Now imagine a woman of her age, such an evolutionary thinker and revolutionary visionary. And she's held that space for so long and knows, she has this expression of blowing a dandelion. I always say, thank you for blowing your dandelion in my direction. I said, what happens when you blow? You give energy to an idea and spread it out so others can do what they need to do. Exactly what you said, Sharon, what we all get to do for one another too. So thank you. That's an understatement.
So let's just take a moment. And I love that. Thank you for blowing your dandelion in my direction. I've always loved that. Dandelion float. And in this moment, just in that inner place, that inner knowing, what is the voice, the word, what is there for you before we close this circle? What dandelion seed is floating to you with such love? And grab hold of it. What is your word? And take a breath. Feel the energy that you have experienced here is a new dandelion, and turn in your imagination to face outward and blow your dandelion into the world. Joy, excitement, gentleness, peace, expansion, connectiveness. Blessing the world because of your presence in your physical body as the authority in a female bodysuit. And then bring that takeaway back to you. Breathe it into your sacred divine triad of Gaia holding it. Sophia saying, yes, I'm going to design with that. And Grace going, yeah, I know exactly how to put that out with love into the world. With that, I'm really honored to have been with all of you today. So grateful, Sandy, for your words, for what you're doing in the world. Know that we are holding you and all that Sarah is calling forth within what we have to give, our guardianship and love space and more. And if you want to take off your mics and say loves and goodbyes as the circle closes and we take our leave. So blessed to have us all together, Sandy. Much love.
Beloved sisters, thank you. I'm so
Thank you,
honored.
Sarah.
Until
Thank you
Much love. Thank you so much.
Inspiring.
very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, everybody.
blessing.
Much love to you all. Thank you. And thank you,
Thank you.
Sharon, for holding this beautiful circle.
That
Bye.
meet again whenever it is, maybe even tonight in our dreams. Bye.